What's up, everybody? Welcome to my presentation on cheat meals versus refeeds. Here's our overview. Here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about cheat meals and refeeds, and we're going to define both. We're going to talk about the history of both because they've been around, both of them, for quite some time. We're going to talk about the positives and negatives of refeeds. We're going to talk about how much to eat. We're going to talk about how many to have a week and when, because sometimes there's going to be times you have a refeed twice a week and a cheat meal twice a week or just once a week. It really depends on your situation. So we're going to outline that in detail. And then the verdict. Notice down here at the bottom, which one's best? Because all this stuff is an art form. I want you to be able to take this information and apply it to yourself. Or maybe you're a diet coach and a trainer and you have clients. Take this stuff, apply it to them, try it and see which one works best. So we're going to go over the verdict on which one you should start with and then be able to try it and apply it all. All right, so let's start off by defining a cheat meal. Listen, first I want to start this off. I don't like the word cheat. Let's just skip down to the second bullet point there. I don't like the word cheat. Cheat implies that you're doing something bad. Like if you cheat on a test, like that's bad. If you cheat on your wife or your husband, obviously that's a bad thing. So to hear the word cheat meal and use the word cheat meal, most people are like, you know what, I really messed up bad on my diet. I don't want you to have to think of it that way. So let's just throw that out there. The reason I use the word cheat meal is because that's what most people in the fitness industry and the dieting world define this meal. Notice the first bullet point here, basically eating any food that you want without tracking your macronutrients, without tracking your calories, your protein, carbs, and fat. It's just eating a meal off the plan. A cheat meal. You know, that originated back, I think, probably in the 80s, okay? So that's basically what it is. Usually, it's done once a week, so a cheat meal. Notice I'm not talking about a cheat day. There's a huge, huge difference, and we're gonna get into what cheat meals can become with a cheat day, but it's usually just done one meal once a week. It's usually high in fat and carbs. So you think of things like pizza, IHOP, a burger and fries, maybe some deep fried sushi, okay? Some custard. You know, we have Andy's frozen custard here in Springfield, Missouri, where I'm at. It's high in fat, it's high in carbs, all right? So that's usually what a cheat meal is. It's things that are high in both. All right, so now let's define a refeed, because there's definitely a big difference between a refeed and a cheat meal. It's usually low fat, high carb food sources. We'll go ahead and jump down to the bottom. An example would be pancakes, cereal, low-fat ice cream, baked chips, some clean sushi, and by clean I mean like low-fat, probably like a California roll or a veggie roll or something like that. There's not a lot of fat in it. It's low-fat, high-carb sources, and when someone does a refeed, they track their protein, carbs, and fats per day. It's a very systematic approach. An example would be maybe somebody has 200 protein, 400 carbs, and 50 fat for the day. Like if I've dieted all week and I'm eating 200 carbs a week, on Sunday, I would have those numbers and I would track it and I would aim to get my 400 carbs in. So it's a very systematic, tracked approach versus a cheat meal. You just go have a meal off the plan, you don't track it. Usually you do these 1 to 2 times a week, depending on the size, which we'll get more into. But a refeed, you usually at least do it once a week. A lot of my clients, I have them do it twice a week. And foods are typically cooked and prepared, and that's the other difference. So refeeds are, think about it this way. You're going to track your food. Most of the time, you're not going to go out to eat and just mindlessly eat. You're going to track it. You're going to be prepared for the day. You already know what you're eating to be able to get your numbers for the day on your refeed. All right, so let's talk about the history. Notice I've got the guru meme over here. So both have been around for decades. This is not something new. A lot of people, a lot of coaches, people that do what I do in the industry don't talk a lot about the differences, so that's why I wanted to make this its whole presentation for you guys. It's used to boost your metabolism during dieting. That's the whole reason carb up days, refeeds, high carb days, cheat meals, like those are around to be able to boost your metabolism. So it's one of those things we started to see the rise of it in the 90s. Dan Duchesne wrote the book Body Opus, where he would do like a very, very low carb. He called it keto, but it was very, very low to zero carb approach for 4 to 5 days, and then a 2 to 3 day carb up. Okay, it was a refeed basically. Very low fat, high carb. So you started to see more of that in the 90s with his book Body Opus. And it was very, very taboo to diet for bodybuilding competitions or even in the dieting world with like all the different approaches that were out. It was very taboo prior to 2010. The reason why it's more known now is I have to say, because of social media. You see a lot of people dieting. My clients are a perfect example. They're dieting and they're eating pancakes, low-fat ice cream, or they're going out to have a cheat meal and having a big plate of sushi, and they're posting that stuff all over social media, Instagram and Facebook, or maybe they even make a YouTube video about their shopping trip for their refeed or their time out with their girlfriend. You see a lot more of that due to social media and the internet. So people are starting to understand it as it's becoming more explained. The reason why I put the guru meme up here is what you have to do is you have to be real careful and watch out for fitness professionals, diet coaches, trainers that come out with these gimmicky approaches where they tell you can just eat all you want all day, like on Sunday. Don't even worry about it. You can't store fat that day. Of course that sounds good. Everybody wants to be a fat kid one day a week and be able to diet and just gorge themselves all day on Sunday. The problem is you'll see it's a big 2-step forward, 2-step back approach. And there's a lot of trainers out there making their name and selling a lot of these programs to be able to tell people they can just eat whatever they want all day or just blow it out. So you have to be real careful with the gimmicky approaches. And a lot of that comes down to this is a very misunderstood concept. Misunderstanding on how to do it, and that's why I want to dispel all of that stuff and show you guys how to use both approaches the right way. All right, let's talk about the positives of cheat meals. It's a nice diet break, right? Mental break. Think about it. You've dieted for 6 days in a row. You've hit your calories perfect, but you might be eating clean, whatever. You've done everything perfect for 6 days. On the 7th day, maybe you go to the gym, and then afterwards, you and the family, you go out to IHOP and you get this mental break, okay? You're able to go out, have a good time. You don't track your food. You don't count every little morsel. It's a nice break. We all need that. It helps give that break, and then you get fueled mentally for the week ahead to go ahead and nail it for 6 days, and then on the 7th day, you have your cheat meal again. So it's a nice break. It's untracked, which helps with that. It's used in conjunction with dinners and events quite often. So like I help a lot of professionals that have business meetings or conferences or events, and they need to go have dinner with a client or a potential client. I tell them, be like, listen, save your cheat meal or your refeed day, depending on what you're gonna eat, and have it then with your client. So it's easy to kind of be flexible with it in that nature. Of course, the positives we talked about earlier, it's a boost in leptin. It's a boost in metabolism. Leptin's a hormone in your body that helps keep your thyroid going. It helps boost metabolism. And it's one of those things, carbs boost leptin. Fats don't really boost it. So even a cheat meal or a refeed will boost leptin, helps boost your metabolism and fuel fat loss for the next few days. Another positive is it refills glycogen levels and helps with muscle gain. So if you're gonna diet in a deficit for 6 days, on that 7th day, you're actually gonna build muscle if your calories are high enough. It actually helps with that. Helps restore glycogen in the muscle that you've trained, over the course of a couple days before the refeed. That way, when you go train the rest of the week, you have stored energy, stored glycogen in your muscle. So it's another positive. And it also improves strength for the days afterwards. So listen, if you're trying to improve your squat and you have a heavy squat day, you want to have your cheat meal on Sunday. Go train, have your cheat meal, get glycogen levels restocked and restored. You feel good Monday, you go in and you squat heavy. You're gonna have a better squat, you're gonna improve your squat. Your workout session's gonna be better on that Monday versus if you went and did it Saturday when you're depleted. Okay, so do your heavy stuff the day after or the couple days after your cheat meal. And lastly, it's something to look forward to, all right? Going back to the very first point, the mental break, it's something to look forward to. All right, let's talk about the negatives of cheat meals. They're very high in fats and carbs. That usually means you have 2 energy sources in your system at the same time. Carbs and fats are both an energy source for your body. Your body prefers carbohydrates. It runs on carbohydrates. So when you get both of them high in your system, your body will use carbs as its preferred source, and it stores fat easier. Not because of the word fat, just because you have 2 energy sources. Uses carbs, preferentially stores fat. So if you eat too much and go too long, you can actually store fat a lot easier with a cheat meal. This is where it happens. One meal usually ends up being a whole day. I'm guilty, my clients are guilty, a lot of people I know are guilty. If you start like right after church and you go out and you have IHOP, you're probably not gonna shut it down for the day. Most people don't have the discipline when they're dieting. They get that bite of food and it's like all day long and it lasts until you go to bed at 10 o'clock, all right? So that's where you really start to see fats and carbs high in the bloodstream is when you do it all day. One meal is not going to be a big deal, but leading to a whole day, a whole, shit food day, that's basically what it is. That's when you start running into trouble. It's also very hard to tell how much you're taking in. It's an untracked meal. So if you go out to eat pizza, right, you're not going to know exactly how many protein, carbs, and fats are in there. So it's hard to gauge your progress over the course of the next week when you don't know how big your cheat meal was. It's also harder to gauge your progress. That's why. Most cheat meals are high in salt, high in carbs, high in fat. You don't know how many calories you're taking in, so your weight goes up the next couple days because that's normal, whether it's cheat meal or refeed. And then you're trying to get the scale back down by the end of the week before your next cheat meal. It's a lot harder to gauge fat loss and progress if you're using a cheat meal. And here's the other thing. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1.5 to 2 steps back. That's when someone does it all day and they just really go all in and they hammer it and they have a big cheat day. You'll lose fat for 6 days and then you'll offset that by eating way too much, like 6,000-7,000 calories, which is a lot easier than people think on Sunday. So then you're 2 steps forward for 6 days and then 1.5 to 2 steps back, which is literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting to see results or change. And I've seen people spin their wheels like this for months. I've done it personally. We've all been there. So be careful with that. All right, let's talk about the positives of refeeds. They boost metabolism and leptin, just like we talked about. They're mainly higher in carbs, so you get a really good boost in leptin and metabolism whenever you do them. Increase strength the following day, just like a cheat meal. So if you need to bring your squat up, do your refeed Sunday, go squat on Monday. Muscle growth, refill glycogen, the exact same. You're actually going to refill glycogen stores better when you have higher carbs and lower fats because the carbs get used to get stored as glycogen a lot faster. They're not being slowed down by the fat that's in the bloodstream. It's a nice break. It's something to look forward to. And here's the thing. It can be a lot of fun. Like you can have a lot of variety. So the example would be Sunday. Go to church, go to the gym, and the next thing you know is after the gym, you've got all these carbs to look forward to. So if I'm gonna eat 400 carbs, I'm gonna maybe eat a meal that's 100 grams of carbs from pancakes for one meal. There's 100 down, I've got 300 more to work with. I might have some low-fat ice cream at the next meal. I might have some baked chips and salsa for the next meal. I still got 100 carbs to work with. I might make some homemade French fries with potatoes or something, or fried potatoes, whatever. Like you can have a lot of variety and you can look forward to it and you can spread it out over the course of a day a lot easier when you're having 100 carb meals like that. So as you can tell, I'm a big fan of the refeeds. They're a lot of fun. Most of my clients take this approach. All right, let's talk about the negative refeeds. So the negative aspect of them, burnout from counting all the time. So with a cheat meal, you get that nice mental break. When you're dieting and you're doing a refeed, you're still counting. Even as fun as they can be, you're still counting, which is mentally taxing. You don't just get to go out and eat and take a break. So it's hard. It is hard. It's hard to stop if you're done too early. So maybe I was only having a 300 carb refeed and I started at like 10 o'clock in the morning and I was done at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I've still got to be awake until 10 o'clock at night. And I know there's some level of discipline that we all need to exert whenever we're dieting, but it's still a lot harder to shut it off if you start early. And I've been through that. My clients have been through it. Like nobody's perfect. The other thing is intense hunger. You notice over here, I'm so hungry. This boosts metabolism so much that you can really literally be starving later that night or the next morning, like your metabolism's through the roof. That's something that you just have to kind of chew your lip through. That's part of it, and that's actually a good thing because that hunger is a good sign that your metabolism is speeding up, and that's a good sign for fat loss over the next few days. And then just mental burnout. Mental burnout if you're too strict for too long. So if you're somebody that needs to diet for 5 months, all right, you have a lot to lose, and you've been counting every morsel on your refeed, every tiny protein, carb, and fat during the week, like 5 months go by, and you're just mentally going to be burned out, which leads to a big rebound and just not giving a shit sometimes, and then you just go eat off the plan. So you have to be real careful with that. All right, does size matter? The bigger the meal, the lower the calories, okay? The bigger the meal, the lower the calories, and higher the cardio have to be to offset. So let me explain this. I've got this graphic down here. Let me explain what I mean. The bigger you go on Sunday, for example, maybe you just blow it out and you eat all day on Sunday, those next 6 days have to be very low calorie and higher cardio to offset that. That's that 2-step forward, 2-step back approach. Okay, so you notice here Monday all the way to Saturday, if you blow it out too high, you're looking at low food and high cardio basically every day for 6 days, just to leave room for these big refeeds and the big cheat meals. I've dieted people that way. I've done it before in the past. It's definitely doable. Like I've literally had people eat 1,000 to 2,000 carbs every Tuesday and have all the water weight and everything back off of them by the end of the week. And then they're depleted here, and then they redo it here. I've found ways to make it work. Now, I had to kill them with low calories and high cardio, so it's definitely not ideal. Here's the other thing. Does lower calories and higher cardio for 6 days downregulate the metabolism and lead to easier fat storage on the refeed or cheat meal? So think about this. If you're very low calorie and high cardio for 6 days, your metabolism gets used to the amount of cardio that you're doing. Your body gets used to the amount of cardio. Your metabolism gets used to the amount of food and calories being burned. So if you're really low calorie, all right, and high cardio, your metabolism is going to be a lot slower because you're looking at 6 days of low calories. Your body adapts to that. So then what happens on Sunday, and this is a theory that I have, when you go really, really big on those high calorie days, does it store as fat easier because your metabolism has slowed down for 6 days? That's a theory I have. I've seen it in the trenches with my clients. That's just something that we need to think about. We need more research being done on refeeds and leptin and metabolism. So what I've found that works better, and we'll outline it in more detail, just have a normal refeed and cheat meal, which we're gonna go over here in just a minute. It allows people to have more food and do less cardio for 6 days. So their metabolism doesn't slow down as much here. They get to eat more food, do less cardio. The refeed and the cheat meal are just a little bit smaller. Now, it doesn't sound as fun, but it's more ideal. All right, how much and when? So let's talk about cheat meals. Usually start with one cheat meal done once a week. That's it. So do them after a workout, do higher reps if possible. 10 to 30 reps. I actually prefer 20 to 30 reps if you can, depending on your workout for the day. The higher reps you do creates room in the muscle for carbs and calories to store. So higher reps on a high calorie day are always going to be better. You deplete glycogen, that way you're able to put more in. It's like gas in a gas tank. You want to run your gas tank pretty low, that way you can put more gas in. Gas is carbohydrates in this instance. So do it in the 10 to 30 rep range, preferentially 20 to 30. Eat until you're comfortably full, okay? So you want to have a cheat meal. You want to eat until you're comfortably full. Eat to the point where you're like, you know, maybe you go out and you have some Chinese food and you're like, you know what? If I keep eating, I'm going to be way too full. That's when you know to shut it down. That's a good sign. The other thing is the more depleted and the leaner you are, the more food you can eat. And let me explain what that means. People that are dieting for bodybuilding competitions, when your body fat starts to get low, your insulin sensitivity is better, you're more depleted because you're getting down to low body fat levels and your calories are dropping, so you're more depleted, your refeed can actually be bigger. People like me, like right now, I'm just in the middle of the off season not dieting, I don't need to eat 600-700 carbs on a Sunday. I could probably just eat an extra 100 to 150 extra because my insulin sensitivity is not as good as if I was real lean because I have more body fat on me than normal. So that's just something to keep in mind, and that's a whole other presentation on itself. All right, how much and when on refeeds? Females, I like to recommend, and now this comes from me working with hundreds of clients over the years and trying high amounts, low amounts, mid-range amounts. This is what I found works best to actually start on. So if you're a female and you want to know where to start, here's what I would do. For your refeeds, females, start with an extra 100 to 150 carbs over your normal amounts you're eating one time a week. So if you're a female and you're dieting on 200 carbs and you're dropping some fat, okay, 180, 200 carbs, whatever it is, add an extra 100 to 150 once a week. So if you're going to do it once a week on Sunday, you're dieting on 200 carbs, maybe you eat 300 to 350 on a Sunday. That would be a good starting spot to make sure that you keep dropping fat the next week. Males, I like to recommend 150 to 250 carbs over their normal amounts one time a week. So if I'm eating 200 carbs to lose weight, I want to add, you know, an extra 150 to 250. Maybe I have like 450 on my high carb day on Sunday. Do them after a workout. Higher reps are best, like we talked about earlier. And the same thing, the more depleted and the leaner you are, the more carbs that you can actually eat. So If I'm starting off now and I have a 400 carb day on Sunday, as I get leaner and lose like 15 to 20 pounds, my carbs during the week are going to be lower to get me there. I have more room to store glycogen, so I might be able to eat 600 or 700 carbs on a Sunday if it's done once a week. All right, so let's talk about the verdict. Which one is best? I found that refeeds, they seem to be better for my clients. I've been able to diet them down, eating more food, doing less cardio, and it's not one of those things, it doesn't lead to so much just binge eating the whole day. It's very countable, it's more accurate. So when you're talking about someone that's dieting for a bodybuilding competition, because I work with a lot of physique athletes as well, but even just people that are very serious about losing the weight, the more you can count, the more accurate you can be. That's more data that you have that you can adjust up and down. Cheat meals are just kind of that unknown. They're kind of that gray area. This trumps it all. This trumps it all. Adherence is everything. So while I can tell you guys, listen, I would start with the refeeds. If you're the type of person, and this is me actually, if you're the type of person that you need to have that cheat meal, that time on Sunday just to let it all go and not worry about it, and that helps you adhere and stick to the diet, who am I or who is anyone else to tell you you have to do a refeed? Refeeds are the best way, they're the only way. Listen, that's bullshit. Adherence is everything. So if you can stick to a plan better because of that, whether I think it's ideal or not, adherence is everything. So you have to take that into consideration as well. Try them both, see what you like. That kind of leads to the adherence. And always, always, in all caps, experiment. Try multiple things. That's why I'm giving this presentation, because I've done it all. Super high refeeds, eat all day, just eat tons of cheat meals and cheat food all day, do lower meals twice a week. Like, I've tried it all and seen which one, and saw which one worked better for my clients. You always have to experiment. Like I said, this is an art form. You have to figure out what works the best for you, or if you're a trainer and coach, for your clients. This is my best method. This is what I wrote about in the Flexible Fat Loss Solution, my second book. This is the best method that I use with 90% of people that I diet now. It just works really well. So if you want to give this a shot, this is what I would do. Do 2 refeeds a week, all right? Do 50 to 100 carbs higher than your normal amounts. So if you're a female, maybe you're going to do 50 extra. If you're a male, maybe you'll do 100 extra, and that's because muscle mass. Like females, you just don't have as much muscle mass as a guy, so you don't need to eat as many carbs. Save up your food for your post-workout meal and other meals. So let me explain why. If you're going to do 2 refeeds a week that aren't as high carb as a one-day refeed on Sunday, save up your food. So if you're a guy and you're going to do a 300 carb refeed on Monday and Thursday, save those carbs up. It makes zero difference as long as you hit your total macros per day. So save those carbs up. If you're going to have 300 carbs and you start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, have 100 carbs post-workout, have another 100 at the next meal, and another 100 before you go to bed. It's perfectly fine to do it that way, and it gives you that mental break. It gives you something to look forward to. And here's the other thing, higher calories and lower cardio during prep. By not having that really high day on Sunday and lowering it down, I've seen people be able to eat more food during their prep and do less cardio. Plus you get 2 boosts in leptin. Think about that. You're going to boost your metabolism twice instead of just once. That's been a huge benefit for my clients. And lastly, 2 high carb days to look forward to from a mental standpoint. So instead of like trying to push for 6 days of doing everything perfect, just so you can go have extra food or a little bit higher food on Sunday, now you've got maybe a Monday and a Thursday that you get to look forward to, and that's been a nice break as well. Here's an example. On Monday, be a high day or a refeed, 350 carbs. Tuesday would be back to normal amounts, so 250 carbs here, Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, you would do another high day or a refeed of 350. Friday and Saturday would be back to normal. Notice there's basically a spike in metabolism and leptin here. Everything starts to drop down here. You give it another spike, it starts to drop down here. I've seen that really help spur fat loss over the long game, over the long haul, a lot better than just doing 1 refeed. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to my presentation on cheat meals versus refeeds. Whenever it's time to go have some pizza or maybe some Cocoa Puffs, I hope you can take this information, apply it to yourself or apply it to your clients if you're a diet coach or a trainer, and understand which one is good to start with, but figure out which one is best for you. Thanks.